afternoon. Let me welcome everyone who's listening to this press conference. My name is Brent Rumley. I'm the Chief Education Officer at the Department of Education. I am joined by Dr. Trevor Hodge, who is the principal at the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School. I'm very grateful to all the media houses that are here this afternoon, in addition to Radio Anguilla, who I believe is carrying this live. We're also grateful to them and other media houses that will pick it up and rebroadcast it. We're here because of an incident that occurred on Monday last. In a few minutes, I'll ask Dr. Hodge to give us a full accounting or a full recount of that incident, what occurred on Monday through Wednesday that led to the closure of the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School. But I want to use this opportunity to say thank you to all our stakeholders, our school administrators, our students, our teachers, and particularly our parents, and the various government entities that partner with the Department of Education on an ongoing basis. Managing an education system is not an easy task. There are a lot of moving parts. There are a lot of different levels within the system with different levels of responsibilities. There are a number of internal and external entities that we are dependent on to move things forward. So we cannot trivialize challenges within education systems. I told, one time I had a conversation with a young parent who approached me concerning a matter he was dealing with, and he was surprised to learn that the Department of Education did not have a role to play in that matter, although the matter was occurring on school property, on school grounds. But he was rather moved to understand that there were other agencies at play that we had to give way to in order to address the particular concern. Obviously, we have a role to play, but we are not the principal agent in that particular circumstance. I can't go to the details of it, other to say that we are a system that is highly dependent on our partners. Okay? We are not an island unto ourselves. That's the first point I want to make. The other thing I want to make, other point I would like to make is that while a lot of attention this afternoon will be on safety and security protocols, I want to talk about our children, because we are at a point in Anguilla's development where we need to seriously take a look at our families, our children, what they're exposed to, how they are supervised, and what activities they engage in when they are not in school. More and more we are seeing a continuous erosion of basic values, basic norms, and it is spilling into the school in very frightening ways. Okay, the incident that occurred shocked everyone, not because it was particularly complex, but just to listen to a young student speak the way she spoke about her desire to take the life of another. That's not something that we can take lightly, and I do understand the position of teachers where that situation was concerned, and I do agree that it was serious. I've had parents who called me and told me it was a trivial matter, that it was an overreaction. Not at all. And that's not the position of the ministry or the Department of Education. We think it was a serious matter. It provided a window into the psyche of our young people that is quite scary, and one that we need to pay attention to as a community. So I'm going to ask Dr. Hodge right now to take us through what actually happened. Then I will address the concerns that teachers have raised, and I'll give the general public a full update as to where we are and our next steps. Dr. Hodge.
Thank you, Mr. Romney. Good afternoon to all those assembled and to you in Radio Land. I am Dr. Trevor Hodge, principal of the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School. Last Monday, or Monday before, we had a situation where a student took a selfie with a bullet. We called in the student, we interrogated the student, we wanted to find out if this was her bullet, and she said no, it's a fake bullet that she got from a classmate. So we had the classmate come in, the young man. He came in, we questioned him. He said, he alleges that he found the bullet on Rendezvous Bay. Okay. He then placed the bullet in his school backpack. Now, I just found it curious, and I am not trying to editorialize, but I found it curious that you would have your school bag at Rendezvous Bay. Nonetheless, he took the bullet up and stuck it in his school bag and allegedly forgot to take it out. So he shows up to school on Monday morning with a live round ammunition in his school bag. So we had the Royal Anguilla Police Force come in, who took him away for further questioning. And at that point in time, we were of the view that the matter had been handed over to the Royal Anguilla Police Force, and our role at that point in time was satisfied. Late Tuesday, we heard a recording from the young lady who was taking the selfie with the bullet. And at that point in time, school was about to be dismissed, so there was very little that we could have done at that point in time. But first thing on Wednesday, we called the student in, we questioned the student, and then we notified the Anguilla Police Force, the Royal Anguilla Police Force again. She was taken away for interrogation and further questioning. At my Wednesday morning briefing, I outlined the case or the matter to staff and told them what the school response was going to be and where we were with the law enforcement. From a school's perspective, both students were immediately suspended for 2 weeks, which is the legal maximum that I can suspend. And the further recommendation made that they should be expelled. So that is the timeline as we can recall, but both students, as is obvious, are out of school at the moment.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Hodge. I received a call on Wednesday afternoon as well from Dr. Hodge indicating that teachers had significant concerns about the incident and that they asked that we consider closing school to do a complete security sweep of the property and also the surrounding areas. I accepted the recommendation and we went ahead. I want to say this because at that point in time, I did not have any official correspondence from the Anguilla's teachers, the teachers at the Albina Lake Hodge Comprehensive School or the Anguilla's Teachers Union concerning the matter or their views on the matter. That came later the afternoon. And by that point in time, we had already given instructions on the nature of the press release that would have gone out. We received the letter later, well, I saw it much later. We received it in the afternoon, but I saw it much later. And then we saw the pointers that they outlined, the 4 pointers, are 4 conditions for a return to normalcy in terms of teaching and learning. We agreed to the meeting. Unfortunately, we could not do the meeting on Thursday because of persons, we were all booked, but we at that point in time said, you know what, this is a priority. Let us clear our calendars, and myself, the PS, the minister, we did it. And we moved a lot of things, canceled a few meetings, moved things to the Friday. And we were able to meet with teachers in this room on the Thursday afternoon as they requested at 1 p.m. During that meeting, we were able to hear the concerns directly from them and had a very productive engagement with them on the path forward. So we left that meeting understanding what their concerns were, the urgency of those concerns, and we had a pretty good idea from the meeting what the path forward should look like. And we've been working on accomplishing that ever since. As a matter of fact, I have to impress here because all these matters were already in works, right? It is not a situation where we picked up anything here to move forward. These are things that were at different stages of completion, things that we've been dealing with over the last number of years. It's just that each of these areas had a specific unique challenges that I hope to discuss this afternoon. But I want to look at them one by one, and then I'll take your questions. The first request is that we search the premises at the Albina Lake Arch Comprehensive School. The Royal Angola Police Force teamed up with the security company on site, Alert Security Services, and they conducted a complete sweep of the building facilities at Campus Q, as well as a complete sweep of the grounds. Okay? They found no weapons, no contraband of any sort were found in the building, in the facilities, or on the grounds. During our meeting on Thursday, we discussed that sweep as being unique to Campus Q. However, in the ATU's recent letter, we recognize that they were considering not only Campus Q, but Campus B and Campus A as well. That is happening as we speak, and that will be completed, okay, today. We have no problem with that. We never left the meeting with an understanding that they were looking at those 2 sites as well, since the incident did not occur on those sites. But that is an easy one to complete, and we are currently doing that. The landscape maintenance, and teachers and the union will attest to this. This was ongoing before the opening of schools. We were close to completion at Campus B and Campus A. So it's not that we didn't share the concern that these grounds in their current state at any point in time poses a potential security risk to teachers and students, okay? We were literally removing the vegetation and cleaning up the property for the reopening of school, and we were close to, I would say, without actually knowing the specific percentage, just as a guess, 90% on completion. So the question is, why were we not completed? Because some of the vegetation required heavy equipment to remove, and the groundsman, and I told him literally that very same Monday when the incident happened, when I toured the facility with him, I said, you need to tell us now when you're ready for this heavy equipment so we can come in and get this done. So where Campus A and B are concerned, that was already done. The issue, however, was with Campus Q. And I don't know if any of you have been to Campus Q and look at the back part of the campus. It's a forest over there, right? The gradient of the land is terrible. It seemed as if all the construction waste from the building of the campus was literally dumped over there. So you have multiple piles of rubbish or debris, and you have trees and wild moses and so forth growing up in and around it. So it's a very difficult terrain to think. It's beyond the scope of what the Department of Education can handle and manage in any given circumstance. Okay? That's the reality of what we're dealing with. We tried multiple times to get a procurement done, to get a heavy equipment company on site, to try to start to clear out a path to the back gate and so can improve visibility. However, we delayed that, and I know this might not be a comfort to teachers. We delayed it because for some of you, you would be aware that that entire back area, it will be a construction site in a couple of weeks, or hopefully in a couple of weeks. As a matter of fact, the building of the agriculture science block and the TVET block supposed to go in that area, and we were hoping, rather than us spending tens of thousands of dollars to manage a terrain that we can't manage, that procurement would have finished and construction would have started there, and the contractor would have taken care of that entire area. And since we realized that that was coming, we delayed or put off any work that we would have done on our own. It was delayed. I think it went up for procurement. It failed. Second attempt, I'm not sure what happened with it. And we were told it would definitely, hopefully get it ready for the start of school, because they wanted to get all the excavation, which we wanted, all of that stuff done before the start of school. And it didn't happen again, all right? So that is why, while we tackled Campus A and Campus B, this is the reason why we did not tackle Campus Q, because of that pending construction that should be happening in that area. So we agree with teachers. There's no disagreement that if you look at that area, and I just came from the site because I wanted to see, we were able to contract 2 companies to work in the area. I wanted to see the progress that they are making and the difficulty of the terrain that they have to manage. And I can tell you it's not an easy task. I don't care how big that equipment is, it is not an easy task. But they are at it. They gave us an estimate about 3 to 4 days when they can make significant progress. To give you an idea of the difficulty, level of difficulty involved in doing this. So going forward, what we've committed to the ministry and department is saying to our partners who have the capacity to manage this stuff, we need you to step up and do that, okay? Because the Department of Education does not have the capacity to deal with that terrain and that area of school property. It's just not possible. Our groundsmen cannot handle it, and so forth. So we need partners to manage that in a reasonable way. But it will help when the construction starts, because it's going to reduce the land area that we have to focus attention on. So we are very pleased to report to the teachers. We met with the Teachers Union this morning and representatives from the Albania Lake Arch Comprehensive School, the Deputy Governor, the Minister, and the PS. And we are pleased that the landscaping issues are being handled. Where Campus A and B are concerned or handled, and you can take a trip and see that for yourself, because that work was already close to completion. And Campus Q is currently, there are two contractors on Campus Q. They also asked for armed security officers on campuses. In their updates, they said no updates were provided. That is not entirely, I think they might have missed the updates that we provided on that. But we did ask them for some time, and I want to be fair to the process, because putting armed security guards on campus or armed police officers is a shift in the ministry and department's policy. It's critically important that we have the necessary consultations and do a risk assessment of what that will mean with having armed officers on campus. We just have to put on the news in the US and see the challenges that they've had with that when they experimented with it in the UK or other localities, right? So it's very important that we do this in a step approach. We've asked the Royal Angola Police Force to do a comprehensive risk assessment And also, we are going to be meeting with parents on Wednesday afternoon to discuss this matter as well, so we can get input from another critical stakeholder group in the process. Okay? We want our teachers and our students and our parents to feel secure when they are on our campuses, and we'll do whatever it takes to make that happen, but we cannot rush into certain decisions without carefully studying them and trying to make a determination as to what is feasible, what is safe, and what will not make matters worse. Okay? And so that's where that recommendation is concerned. It's not that we've ignored it. We did provide a written update on January 17, which is the entire section that addressed the steps that we've taken. And we've already taken those steps. We've spoken to the Royal Anguilla Police Force. We scheduled a consultation with parents. Okay? So we are on our way of addressing that particular concern, but we have to do it, or we must do it carefully and responsibly. Okay? Armed person engagement procedures. The comment that they would have read said it's incomplete. No police engagement in discussion on this matter. There was. It's not incomplete. We've had draft protocols, not drafts, sorry, let me rephrase that so I don't put wrong information in the public domain. The school has an approved school safety and safety plan that include intruder protocols. The challenge is, and I think all of us agree, we wanted to upgrade that, active shooter protocols, and we've been working with the Royal Anguilla Police Force to try to make that happen. We had a number of scheduling instances. I think the Department of Education scheduled a workshop last year where we ironed out, we looked at, with disaster management, we looked in detail at the school safety plans, what was missing, what needed to be upgraded, and we did the necessary work. The plan went back to the schools for further consultation and to finalize little areas that the school needed to finalize. But the lagging part was the engagement with the Royal Anguilla Police Force on this active shooter protocol, and we are currently engaging. As a matter of fact, the Royal Anguilla Police Force personnel would have met with teachers yesterday, and we are hoping that engagement will continue today and tomorrow. Not hoping, that is a necessary bit, that engagement will continue today and tomorrow, and also Thursday and Friday, because we are asking them to stay with us until we get this right, okay? I want to impress on the mind of the public, teachers, educators, the Department of Education, the Ministry of Education, we are not experts in these areas, okay? We're not. And what that means is that we are dependent on the support and guidance of those entities and agencies that have that expertise to ensure we are providing the right direction to our teachers, to our students, and we are keeping our school communities safe. If we were the experts on this area, it's an area that would have been already tackled, because we've done everything, we've done all the necessary steps to ensure we get to a point of completion. Schools had school safety plans going back years, and they are reviewed ever so often. The most recent review of the school safety plans was a year or two ago. Okay, and last year we also looked at them again and made adjustments to them. Functional and reliable PA systems was the other matter that was raised. The Campus Q has a PA system that was installed with the construction of the site. It appears, and this is not an area that the Department of Education, again, was responsible for. It appears that the contractors involved in that project did not complete the work needed to make it operational or functional. And we've been trying and working with contractors and Mike who had ultimate responsibility for the building during construction, to try to resolve the matters with regards to the PA system. I can report that they have, the PA system is operational in most of the school, there are 3 speakers that are connected to that system that are not operational in the hospitality building, in the cafeteria, and in the science block. Okay, and the reason for that, it appears that there's no power to those speakers, and that's something that they're currently addressing. All right, again, this is something that not the department was working on, but this came with the facility, and it was on work that was not completed to make that system fully operational. And now that they got part of it operational, we are recognizing that there's some sound issues that they're currently troubleshooting. Okay? In the other campuses, this department, the Department of Education, you all will have remembered that government would have announced spending in a supplemental budget about $2 million on security in our schools. So this is an important part that let us not lose sight of, the investments that happened last year in security, right? We updated and modernized our security contract. We had a bid process, a new company was selected, and the package of security services that came with that was significantly better than what we had in prior packages. The number of officers increased significantly to meet the demand of the 3 campuses. So we were very pleased with that. That by itself was a $3 million investment, right, over time. In addition to that massive investment in 2024, government also allocated $2 million to further buffer improve security at schools in the area of in one area that is of question today, is an issue in today's discussion, is security cameras and alert systems and public address systems, okay? Unfortunately, that procurement did not go through. It's something that we are still working on. We're right now working with disaster management on a new alert systems, and our work will continue on the entire package until we get it right for resubmission. Okay, in the interim, schools will be given bullhorns where they can speak into or do alerts with in cases of emergencies, so they can communicate school-wide. Our hope is that that's just an interim temporary measure to deal with the immediate concern, while we continue to work on a more modern, effective alert system and intercom system for all our schools, not just Campus Q, not just the campuses of Albina Lake Arch Comprehensive School, but all school campuses. The other thing, the alert plan for staff, and that's something that we are putting together right now, but that's dependent on the other protocols and so forth, because the alert plan comes out of that, and then with that will be drills. Now, this is what the department has done. So that's number 6. Number 7, this was not a request of teachers. This was not one of their demands. But this is something that the department has done because we recognize there's at times communication can break down between department and teachers. So what I propose to the Angola Teachers Union and to the teachers at the Albina Lake Arch Comprehensive School is that we create a Safety and Security Advisory Committee. That committee will be made up of representatives from all schools, the Royal Angola Police Force, Disaster Management, Fire, and the Angola Teachers Union, members from the Department of Education, and it will meet on a monthly basis to assess security concerns at our campuses and also to review the work that the department is doing where security is concerned. That way, teachers, we have a direct input into the process from persons that are on the ground, and hopefully it will avoid circumstances like this, so that that back and forth, that constant engagement is happening. They are seeing what we are doing on their behalf to improve safety and security, and they can feed directly into that process. No longer go through the school administration up to an education officer to the process. We are inviting them in, and they can feed directly into the process and monitor and view and advise on procedures and systems that are fit for purpose for their respective schools. All right, so this is something that we place on the table. We are happy to see that it was embraced by teachers and the Angola Teachers Union, because we think it will solve this problem going forward, and we should not be here again where we are talking about security matters at the school, but rather we should be reporting on the successes of this new level of engagement going forward. All right, so I'm going to stop here and I'll take any questions that you might have, but those are the areas, and then I will discuss just briefly the next steps and where we are going from here, okay? Because I know persons are anxious to find out how we get back to a point of normalcy.
Right, also, Mr. Hodge, Dr. Hodge, you made reference to expelling sports students. Do you normally inform parents of these issues, because it's a social issue? Do you get parents involved?
Very good question, Mr. Gomes. In terms of the suspension, let me address it in two sections. In terms of the suspension would take effect from Monday coming through the 4th of February, and that has been communicated with both parents, which is our norm. We'd never issue a sanction unless the parents are notified. That's just law. In terms of the expulsion, that has not materialized as yet, because we need to go through the respective phases of sanctions or punishments, but the parents would be also notified in that instance.
Good afternoon. You mentioned that the suspensions will take effect on Monday coming. What are those students allowed back to school after the incident last Monday?
Well, first, as I intimated earlier, in relation to the gentleman, we were of the presumption that that matter was resolved. It was referred to the police, and they had extracted him from school. In terms of the young lady, we learned about her involvement later that evening, the Tuesday evening, and at that point in time, action was taken to remove both of them from the campus.
In the press conference earlier at the Teachers Union, they did make mention of those points that you all bring forward just now. And one of the things that they said is about 1% done. In your estimate, 97 points. How far are you in terms of completion?
That's an interesting question, in the sense that I would prefer to look at it in terms of the points, rather than trying to put an overall picture on it to suggest it's 40%. I don't think we're at 40%. I think we are more in advance of that. Let me explain something. There are certain things that we are doing that cannot happen in a day's time. Okay? Can we start and make significant progress in the right direction? That's what my focus is on, and the answer to that is yes. And in my meeting with the Teachers Union today, I got a sense from them and their feedback that that's what they are looking for as well. Because they do recognize, if you go through these points one after the next, although some of them are already done, those that are tickling areas, which is the protocols and the drills, that is something that will have to happen over a period of time. What can we do now? We can agree on what the protocols are, and that's happening now. And then we can start practicing the drills. And then bring back students. Once teachers are comfortable with the drills, we bring students back in, and then we do the drills with teachers and students. But as you know, as anyone in the community is aware, any security drills, any disaster management drills, it's practice over time that perfects them. It's not something we can do in a day or two. So I won't look at completion the way you describe it to me. I will look at where we are in terms of each of the points they raise. And as I indicated to you, On some of the points, we are 100% complete, maybe 90, 95% complete on others, ahead of that place, because the school has already have a safety plan in place, right? There's but that's something that we are trashing out right now, are working on right now. But once we get past that, and they start to put the drills, then we're ahead of the curve, and we can get a process of constant and regular drills so persons know exactly what to do in terms of emergency. And from what I heard from the union, that's the point they want to get at. And that's the point that we are focused on right now, to get them to a point where.
How far do you think we are, the department is in reference to satisfying the requirements for the teachers to go back to school?
Again, I'm going with, based on the discussions that we've had with them this morning. And this is what they've said to us. If we continue to use today as we did yesterday to finalize the protocols, which we are doing, if we do the drills tomorrow, they are ready to return to school on Thursday morning with students, okay? And that's where our focus is on. And for that to happen, we require the input and the support of our partners with the technical skills, and we've already indicated that to them so that they'll be on site today and tomorrow. And we'll work with teachers to get those drills done, because teachers need to be first comfortable with the drills before they can then guide students in the process with the assistance and help of our partners, okay? So I think we're getting there. We've made significant progress on all the pointers, and we're getting there. It's dependent on us making that one final step tomorrow, which is getting those drills practiced, okay?
The fact that a bullet was able to get into the school, that means there was obviously some lacking on the part of the security system protocol. What measures are you going to take to improve the search process for both boys and girls?
Excuse me. I am looking at implementing a two-tiered security check, one at the main gate and then one at the entrance of the school. So what is missed at one point, we are hoping, God willing, that we can catch it on the tail end. We're also looking at ensuring that post-lunch security checks are conducted. I am reliably informed by the security personnel at the ALHCS quarter campus that that is being done. It may not be done regularly or daily, but for the most part, that is being done. I just think this was a sad incident where that bullet was missed. And so it has actually forced us now to tighten our scrutiny to ensure that a recurrence does not happen.
I want to add something. I've been in my current post since July of 2019, and I get the security reports with the previous company and with this company. And the number of items and things that are intercepted on a daily basis, or monthly basis, or termly basis, or annual basis, you'll be surprised by, right? And I always say this to security leaders or the companies that we work with, I really am grateful for the work that you do every single day, because when I see the things that they intercept and they prevent from entering our campuses, you got to be appreciative, right? But we always know that there might be a time where something is missed, right? Unfortunately, in this instance, a bullet was missed, right? Very unfortunate, but I am grateful, and I don't want, we will look at that and say it was a failure of the system, because we have to get it right every single time for security. That's not unique to us here, that's unique to any school that's doing this. And we have to look at ways to further strengthen, so I appreciate the initiative of the school in that regard. And we also are talking to the security leaders about more detailed searches that are necessary, and the searches are detailed already. That's why we usually have the lines of students waiting to get in. And we don't want to make that worse, but we also want to ensure our students and our teachers and our staff feel safe on the campus. Okay, so that's something that we definitely have to do. One other recommendation was, as another layer of security, is to get metal detectors on the campuses, and that's something that we are studying as well. Okay, so they will not only do the search, but they also walk through the detector to make sure that we are not missing anything. So I'm very grateful for the work of these security companies. I don't want us to look at this, and because in Anguilla we tend to sensationalize things, and we missed the broader context and picture, and at times we can be very unforgiving. But these companies do exceptional work in terms of intercepting stuff. But we always, in any risk assessment, we tell you, you always give way for a scenario where something is missed. And then it's, do we have other layers that can pick it up, right? And in this situation, we did, right? Because the Royal Anguilla Police Force would tell the Anguillan public, what you hear and what you see makes a significant difference if you report it. Right? In this case, someone saw on social media a young student with a selfie on a thing. The school, the minute that was communicated to the school took immediate action and started the investigation, right? And that investigation led to the discovery of the bullet that was missed earlier in the day, okay? So security is not just one thing. It's a layered approach, a process of things that we need to do and do well every single time, okay, to make a facility secure and safe for everyone.
Could I just add to that, going forward, the Royal Anguilla Police Force has committed to regular interceptions, regular sweeps, so that, and those are going to be randomized, so that we can make sure that we are checking the boxes to safeguard our stakeholders, students, and staff.
As it relates to the metal detectors, how soon do you think they will be installed in the schools?
Okay, this is a proposal that was made. We are looking into it. I can't give a timeline at this stage because, again, something like that, if it was in my purview to make a decision, the decision would be made now or purchased tomorrow. It doesn't work that way in government. That's why when people say anything about procurement, don't tell me anything about the processes. I am a public servant. I have to follow government policies and laws and procedures. I don't get to act. No one in government does. Okay? So it's important that I do not try to preempt those processes and give you a timeline on that.
As you mentioned procurement, some teachers have been accusing, yes, you and the department of using procurement as an excuse for not implementing a number of safety measures. How do you respond to that?
I think that's unfortunate because if that is true, and I don't know, because one of the things I try to avoid in our little small community is people say. I think I prefer to hear that say directly to me. I have not heard that said from teachers, so I don't know. What we try to do, and what I've been trying to do, is to be as transparent and honest and open with stakeholders as I possibly can. I held a staff meeting, a virtual staff meeting on the return to school in January, where I took my time for at least, 2 hours? If not longer, and I detailed every initiative and the challenges that we were encountering with those initiatives. And a number of them were security initiatives and where we are in the process. If a procurement failed on the matter, it failed. That's a delay, right? And we're just talking about a potential fail. You're not talking about the time it takes to get the procurement to actually advertise and go out for bidding and then the bids come. We're not talking about all of that. So I don't have the luxury to say procurement is not an excuse. It's a real reality that we have to work with the entire public service. I told you about the construction of the science block and the TVET block, right? Those were supposed, construction on those buildings were supposed to start last year, okay? And we are yet to get the procurement process done. That's a reality that we have to deal with. It's a bottleneck that we have to deal with. So I don't get the opportunity to dismiss it because I have to walk through it. What I try to do with teachers, and I think it would be sad if teachers actually think it's an excuse. It really will be sad because what I try to do is to be transparent, to be honest, to be open. And I even took a step further. With the creation of the Safety and Security Committee, these teachers now will have access to the same documentation that I sent through procurement, and they will see the whole process at work right around the table. So it won't be me saying now, this is what happened, no. You are part of the process, and I invite you in so you can see what we're doing, you can see the processes up front, and you could be a part of it, and you can act also to help us with the communication back to your peers. So my response to your question is that I would be rather sad if that's true, right? Because that's not how I communicate, and that's not my intent. All right? Every issue that put out there are documentation and processes to back it up, right? That I could share with teachers if they're so inclined. Okay? We're not using it as an excuse. We have challenges.
Another question. What do you bring these criminal-minded issues down to with such young children? What is causing it?
That's a question that will have me talking here for a whole hour plus. We've seen a erosion of what I refer to as sound, effective parenting in our communities. Too often we have parents who feel parenting is giving a child every single thing he or she desires, or turning the upbringing and engagement of children over to devices, the internet and social media and so forth, without any checks and balances. Our children are taking a lot from sources whose culture don't align with ours, whose values don't align with ours. In addition to that, they're being groomed locally by persons whose intentions are not honorable. So there's a lot that our young people are engaged in that have them are going astray. My advice to parents is that we need to pay attention, we need to be more proactive. I had a situation, I thought I was, what should I say, draconian where my daughter's concerned, because we will have our daughter bring her tablet and her phone to our room, and it stays in our room. I went to St. Martin on a trip on some business for the Department of Education, and I was sitting down talking to this businessman that we were doing business with at Office Wall. And my daughter, she took that trip with me, and she was talking about something, and we were back and forth about this phone, and I taking it, and she bring it down. And he sat down and he said, "Oh, don't feel that way. Your dad is right. I have 2 daughters your age, and they have to bring their phone and tablet to my room every single night. Like clockwork. They do not get to keep it in their room." And I felt a little bit, encouraged, because it's not just me and her mom who thought this was a responsible way to control what my daughter's exposed to when we don't see, when we are unable to see. Right? Parents have to be proactive in parenting. It's a proactive job. You have to be present, and you have to find engaging, positive, enlightening activities to engage your children. You cannot leave it up. Don't give them a device or a phone and feel that's parenting. That's not. This is how the danger comes in. And because there's no filter to it, it makes matter even worse. You're not there to see what they're exposed to, what they're consuming, and the activities. You have to be present as a parent in every aspect of their lives. And we've seen an erosion of parenting in our society, and our parents also are much younger than previous generations, and that in itself is a challenge, and that's why the ministry has responded to create the Family First program, to try to support and build families and have these type of engagements and discussions where other parents share what they're doing, because we are not in this alone, right? Parenting, as the African adage says, it's a village affair, right? As a young man, I grew up in South Hill. I grew up in an area with about 5 or 6 elderly women. If I got in trouble in Lower South Hill, I'm already punished before I can get to my grandmother. And then when the first old lady caught me down there, and she deals with me, then they go to the second one, she's dealt, by the time I get home, right? I'm properly dealt with. That's not the society in which we live today, right? And that's a society that we need to get back to certain degrees where we all see ourselves as being responsible for these young persons and the upbringing of these young persons, and play a more proactive role in that regard. Okay? We are really in a crisis situation where our families are concerned. And there's no way to sugarcoat that. All right? Our school is seeing what is happening in the community. We are getting the end of it. We have to deal with it. The disrespect that we see from students, that teachers have to put up with. What is your name? And silence. Okay? What are you doing here? Silence. Or don't bother me. You understand? Talking back to authority, this outward disrespect to authority, using curse words to teachers. I never saw that in my entire school career in Angola, where a student used a curse word to a teacher. As a young teacher, I've been teaching for 30 plus years. A student has never cursed me in my teaching career and used curse words. That is common today. Right? What has happened? Teachers are dealing with a lot, and I hope the public understand that. Teachers are dealing with a lot. We are doing our best to give them the tools and the strategies and all the support services to support them, but what they put up with students on a daily basis, it's unbearable, it's unthinkable. And parents need to understand that. That's why when I see parents react the way they do when we bring them in for meetings with a child, it breaks my heart. Because teachers are the guardians of your children when they leave your home. And you should try to find a cooperative way to work with them and support them, because they have the best interests of your child. And what you hear from parents at times is, those teachers are there. No, I mean, those teachers are there. Right? And children are hearing that, the disrespect in the home for teachers. So why would they come to school and respect the teacher when mom and dad in the home is disrespecting the teacher? Right? Well, what's the encouragement? What's the example? Where's the example that they can say, hey, boy, if I don't respect this teacher, my mom and my dad is going to come up here? No, because when you're in your home, calling the teacher's name, swearing about the teachers, using curse words, denigrating the entire, yes, your children are paying attention and they're listening. I had a parent in my office recently, and I'm going to keep quiet now. I had a parent in my office recently. We were dealing with a matter, and I asked the child to leave, right? Because right in my office, I saw that child being disrespectful and the parent encouraging and supporting the disrespect. And I asked the child to leave, and when the child left, I spoke directly to mom. And I said, you see that? That's what the teacher is dealing with. Because you are there supporting outward disrespect and disregard for authority, and you're encouraging him. That's why when he goes to the school, he's showing that level of disrespect and disregard to the teacher. And I had to talk to her, and she said, yeah, I understand, Mr. Rahman. Right? So we have real challenges in the system.
I think an additional point is, in many cases now, this is not the case in every circumstance, but in Mr. Romney pointed out that we have responsibility for your child from about 7:15 to about 2:30, 2:40. The child's waking life. And so the expectation is that we will raise the child or we will discipline the child, but then we can't do that because you've already told the child how to respond to the teacher. When you can have a student threaten to punch a teacher in her face, that is unconscionable. Which school, and I'm of the view that schools are places of learning, and learning should happen in a very respectful environment. I am of the view if that can't happen, we need to change gears. And so I am appealing to parents. I mean, I'm really appealing to parents to really take some time and check their children. Because if you don't do it now, they will pay the consequence later on. The lack of investment now will yield other kinds of outcomes that no one is prepared to deal with. And so I just wanted to add that to Mr. Romney's point.
Yeah. And I want to also add this, and the group of students that we are talking to is not the majority.
That's right.
We are very grateful for our parents and our students who do exactly what we expect of them on a daily basis. All right? This is a group of students, a minority group of students that we have these challenges with. Okay? And I want to put that there because the vast majority of our student body are doing what they're supposed to be doing. Their parents are engaging, their parents are respectful, and we are seeing that level of respect and appreciation on a daily basis from pre-primary straight through to secondary. But we do have that cohort that are challenging to work with for a number of reasons that we have to continue to try with. Okay.
Janisa Fleming from the Anguillian. Going back to the security measures, since you say that measures would have to be more stricter, how do you balance that with also maintaining like some kind of normalcy on campus?
That's a very good question, and we don't want our students to feel that they are entering a prison, right? I think we want them to feel welcome. We want them to feel comfortable being there and feel secure. So we have to find that balance in everything we do. That's why we are going through the consultations that we are going through. Not only talking to teachers who are critical stakeholder group, and we've been having those conversations ongoing. But tomorrow we're going to have a meeting with parents, and we're going to talk to them as well and get their input into the entire process and what they envision going forward. And when students return, counselors will be working with them and leading them through the completion of a survey where we're going to also get their input into the process and what they think should be done, what their concerns are, and so forth. So we are seeing this and understanding what our stakeholders are thinking. So that when we sit around the table, we have everyone's thoughts and aspirations or expectations before us. Right, but yeah, it's a tricky balance because we want them to feel safe and secure, and we have to be intentional about making that happen. Okay, because you don't want to be in an environment where you're not safe and secure. And I say that for teachers, I say it for students, school administrators, etc. No one will want to be in that environment, and the onus is on us to work collaboratively with them and with all our partners, because we cannot do it on our own. As a matter of fact, there are too many aspects of it that we can't do at all, right? We require our partners, and we require them not only in cases in terms of an emergency, we require them on an ongoing basis. They need to be as consistent as we are and as intentional as we are in ensuring that the environment is safe and secure, okay? No? Okay, if I may, let me give you an idea as to what, we had a very productive discussion with the Anguilla Teachers Union this morning. We started at 8, and I think we finished around a few minutes to 12. And I think we outline a plan that all persons are comfortable with going forward, and I know parents are also interested in what that plan will look like, so I'm going to outline it. We have not gotten word as yet from the Anglo Teachers Union that this is acceptable to the teachers at secondary, but we are hoping to hear from them shortly. On Tuesday, 21st, which is today, we are working collaboratively to finalize the security protocols that were already part of the school safety plan. We were working with the Royal Anguilla Police Force to get their presence on campus to provide technical assistance. They were there yesterday, but we wanted that to continue. Teachers will practice the drills coming out of the protocols, and the idea behind that, you want teachers to be comfortable with these drills, to have an understanding of what to do under different emergency circumstances. And then when they get to a comfort level, it don't have to be perfect, it's just an understanding and a grasp as to what is required, and so persons are moving in unison. And once that is done, then on Thursday, with students, the ALHCS will reopen this Thursday coming. Classes will resume after pastoral activity. Council will do a pastoral activity with students, and they will also do that survey that I mentioned to get a sense from students as to how they feel about what's happening on campus, what are their areas of concerns, and so we can have that data to inform further actions. Students then, accompanied by their teachers and supported by the technical experts at the Royal Anguilla Police Force and the Department of Disaster Management, will then do the drills. After that pastoral activity and the survey, they then will practice the drills for a period of time. After that is done, on completion, students will return to their scheduled form classes and subject classes on Thursday afternoon. Okay? On Friday, classes will resume as normal. But I also asked the union, not the union, the teachers and the union, sorry, and the school administrators, if they feel there's a need again to run through those drills one more time, they can do that on Friday afternoon, okay? And what we're gonna do going forward as part of our academic planning, we will pre-schedule drills on regular intervals. So all stakeholders are aware and can appreciate the protocols, know what they are, and also know what is expected in times of emergencies or different emergencies. So it's no longer will be something that is left up to any individual to action. Some drills will be planned in advance, other drills will be unannounced and just happen, right?
And I just wanted to add that that is important because we are constantly getting students added to our roles. And so we need to ensure that repeatedly we are making sure that all stakeholders are aware of the protocols.
So what I want to say to the general public right now, students will not return tomorrow. As if everything goes well with today and tomorrow, students will return on Thursday morning at their normal scheduled times. Okay, and we will commence the pastoral activity with counselors. Then they would do drills with their teachers and with school admin and the Royal Anguilla Police Force and disaster management and fire. And then they will go back to their form classes, start their subject classes, and school will continue as normal on Friday. And we, at the department level, the new committee that's going to be put in place will continue to monitor and advance the security concerns. Are there any questions on that? We also will put another announcement out in the public domain so that they have that schedule as well. Okay. We're good? All right. Thank you all. I do appreciate your presence, and thanks to the Anguillan listening audience and to parents, our students. I would have written a letter to students and parents yesterday and released that. We all doing the best we can to get you back to school. We do know there's concerns with CSEC and CAPE exams around the corner, and we want to get you back to that. Teachers have given us a proposal that we will consider with regards to extending the teaching and learning time, not making the term longer, but ensuring that you get additional time to make up for this loss, and we are considering that, okay, to ensure that you'll be fine going forward in your exam prep. All right, so again, thanks everyone, and we look forward to Thursday, hopefully when we can return to a sense of start the process of returning to a sense of normalcy with improved processes in place. Thank you all.
Thank you.